Hi, welcome back to the rough example Datsun 510 project. We've got a few updates for you this weekend. Been working hard on it. I guess the biggest thing is I've got these wheels on here that we're test fitting. Um, my brother had these Watanabe wraps on hand. We just wanted to see what it would look like with some wheels. Um, and just kind of testing out the fitment. So I think these are 14 by 8.5. Not sure what the offset is, honestly. Probably 0. Um, but I've got like a what is it, inch and a quarter spacer in there. So I think if I had my fender flares on here, this would be just about right. Um, but yeah, we just threw those on there because we wanted to see how it would look, and since I'm running the air shocks in the back, I need to get in here and like set the height. So I'll put a jack under there and just practice getting that fitment correct so that I'm not bashing into that. Um, yeah, there's the SSR wheel that I'm still hoping to run, but might have to figure out some new lips on those or something. Um, so yeah, did those, and I've also installed this lip on here. This is from RS Carbon. I think they used to go by Retrospec. It's a really nice piece. Took a few months to get here, but it was worth the wait, I feel like. Um, and that took quite a bit of fitment. Taking it off and getting the holes all in the right place, on and off, like 10 or 12 times just to get it right. And it's definitely not perfect. Um, this car has kind of been through hell and back. This panel is just not straight at all. Um, so kind of is what it is, but I feel like that's how these old Datsuns are. Um, so today I'm installing this carbon fiber lip spoiler. Um, so yeah, I've got some Allen head hardware that I'm going to use to attach it, and it's been kind of a slow process just mocking it up, and marking everything and drilling the holes. I used some of these clamps here that have the little rubber things on it so it wouldn't scratch the paint. But anyhow, I put riv nuts in, along this front edge, and I decided to just pony up the cash and get myself a good riv nut setter. That has been like night and day compared to just DIYing it with a couple of nuts and bolts trying to do that. So anyway, I'm gonna bolt this on, and yeah, it it took a lot of just fitment, taking it on, taking it off. I did have to do a little bit of clearancing with a grinder on this edge. You'll see when I get it bolted on, it doesn't fit perfectly, but this thing was pretty bent up, and it's always kind of hard with these custom parts. And then I've also been working on my engine and transmission this week. So here is the individual throttle body setup that we've been working on. I cut the stock KA24 manifold off. I just chopped it, and they line up pretty well with the CBR 1000 throttle bodies. Just a little bit of curvature right on these ends, but the two middle ones are perfect. My brother welded up the injector holes, so there would be these kind of dome-shaped towers on here. So he tigged those and did a little quick polish on it. But so yeah, I just kind of doing a little test fit here. It seems like it's all good. I had to modify the throttle linkage a little bit in order to get the angle correct. I could have run this whole thing upside down, but there's a big mess of vacuum lines, and I feel like this is cleaner. So I ended up opting for this solution, and the cable came in really steep, So I had to lean the cable down because otherwise it would be hitting the hood. So in order to run this, I ended up buying a Microsquirt ECU setup. That just showed up yesterday from DIY Auto Tune. So let's see here. We got map sensor, the, what do you call that? Serial adapter and hookup. Intake air temperature sensor, and just some pigtails to go with that. And then here is the main box and harness. Can open this up really quick. I opted for this is the amped version. It was like 20 bucks more or something, and it's supposed to be a little bit more flexible, and I think you can change more settings on it and stuff. But essentially, this will be the ECU that's running the motor. So you can buy this by itself and then add on the harness with the big pin connector and everything. And this will just tie into all the sensors, the map sensor, the throttle position sensor, oxygen sensor, and whatnot. More serial adapters for the laptop. So yeah, can't wait to dig into this and start getting those sensors hooked up and having fun with that. But in order to do that, I need to get the transmission put back together so that I can put it all back into the car. Which, as you can see, the transmission is a pile of parts right now. So I went through it, and I had taken it to a specialist that took a look at it, and he was like, yeah, the gears look fine on it. Just put it back together and it should be okay. But when I had it in the car, it was just extremely loud. Like, it sounded like rocks tumbling around in there. So anyway, I started cleaning it up and doused it in kerosene to like degrease it, and then that kind of loosened up all of the grease on this bearing. And as you can see, I mean, this thing is just toast like that. That is the only thing that was left of the bearing race. So I'm really glad that I found that and figured out what was going on. Otherwise, I would have put a bad transmission back into the car and then had to pull it back out. But yeah, I've just I've got everything laid out here in the order that I took it off, and then the transmission itself, I have to go take it to my brother's house to use his shop press because the main bearings in the middle are pressed in, and I had to press a couple of gears off as well. So once I do that, then I can put in all the new bearings. I mean, I bought a whole new bearing kit for it. So we'll refresh all that, seal it back up, put it back in the car, and then I can put the engine in and start wiring it up. So yeah, this is my first time doing a transmission as far as tearing it down, rebuilding it. It's pretty intimidating, honestly. There's just a lot of small moving parts and really easy to mess it up. So I kind of realized like, hey, maybe I should just shoot video while I'm taking it apart. So I did strap the phone onto my head with a little kind of harness thing and just recorded myself taking it apart. So that way I have it documented. But that's kind of the main updates this week. Really excited to tear into this thing and get the start getting the motor going and all that. But yeah, that's it. I did have one question for anybody who's watching this that knows more about the oxygen sensors. So I've got a wideband O2 sensor that came with the car. And it's always been my understanding that you need to have a some kind of like a box, like an interface to convert the signal from the sensor to the ECU. But the previous owner just had this in the exhaust, plugged into here, and then this ran into the cabin directly into this autometer wideband gauge. So I guess my question is, does this gauge have the interface, the converter box thingy inside here, or is that something I need to buy? It's my first time working with a wideband too, so if you know what you're doing, leave a comment in there and it could help me out a little bit. So appreciate you watching and have a great week.